Welcome back to Great Tastes of Manitoba. We have been around the world, literally. We've been to Europe, we've been to Asia, we've been to Africa. So Sheila Nash, you've got your work cut out for you. Very excited to see what you've come up with here as far as beverage pairings are concerned. We'll get back to you in a second. But Susan Reese, Manitoba Pork, walk us through our recipes again.
Okay. We prepared 3 dishes today. One was the pork and mushroom stroganoff. That's what we started with, using pork loin strips. Very flavorful, especially with the medley of different mushrooms that we've used. Added some earthy tones to that creamy sauce. We then went over to the pork kung pao with peppers and cashews. A little bit of spice in this dish with the sambal olak, and you can add even some more heat if you want it hotter. Again, very flavorful. And then our last dish was the West African pork and peanut stew. Tons of flavor in this one with the old world spices, the cumin, the garlic, the cinnamon, all of that good stuff that was in there, and super satisfying and just a great comfort food.
The recipes for this show and the complete series of Great Tastes are available on the GreatTastesMB.ca website. And one recipe from today's show will be in the classified section of the Winnipeg Free Press.
Well, Sheila, I don't know, you've been around the world. Doesn't even look like you broke a sweat. What did you bring back for us?
Well, such a range of flavors you had given me to work with, so I decided to choose some wines from around the world and complement some of those flavor profiles in there. To begin with was that pork and mushroom stroganoff with all the lovely mushroom and creaminess. Was looking for something to certainly complement it, but cut through some of that creaminess. So I decided to go with a George Duboeuf. This is out of Beaujolais, wonderful producer, and it's a nice, light, lots of fruit, good acidity kind of red. So I think it's gonna cut through it and it should complement it well. Now, George Duboeuf is a wonderful producer coming out of the Beaujolais area, and there's specific areas within. So every time you see the pretty labels with the wonderful flowers, it's actually a different area with a little bit of a different taste profile. This specific one was more gone, maybe a little bit more robust and soft fruit throughout. Second dish was that kung pao with the peppers and cashews, a little bit of spice. Always a challenge with wine. I decided to go with a Prosecco. I love bubbles. In my opinion, bubble wine goes with absolutely everything, always. But this one, because of that spice, I wanted a little bit of sweetness. Now, Prosecco's a region in Italy. Typically, they're nice and light, fresh, fruity, and often a little bit of sweetness, which is what I was looking for. Bola, wonderful producer. This has got that great acidity to it, so it should cut the heat, be cleansing, but enough weight to sort of hold its own with that dish, if you will. I think it's gonna pair up just beautifully. Lastly was the African pork and peanut stew. So much flavor in here. Now, you know, when it comes to pairing wine and food, there used to be some rules. Red wine with red meat, white wine with fish. They've gone by the wayside, but there's still guidelines out there. And I decided to play off of that. Complementing the regionality in dishes work really well. And because of that African theme, decided to go with Cathedral Cellars from South Africa. Beautiful Cabernet, lots of earthiness to it. Wonderful darker fruit aromas and characteristics. I think it's gonna really match up and complement the earthiness of the dish and still be quite lovely on its own as well. So Cathedral Cellars Cab, beautiful wine on its own or with the peanut stew.
Well, I hope you'll join us again next week here at the Grant Park Liquor Mart Education Center. We have heart healthy, local, and delicious with canola cooks, Manitoba canola growers. The legendary Ellen Pruden's going to join us. In the meantime, we've got more stamps on our passports. Susan and Sheila, thank you very much. Great Taste of Manitoba. Please come back next week.
Great Tastes of Manitoba is presented by Manitoba Liquor Mart. Great Tastes is brought to you by GreatTastesMB.ca. Local farms, local foods. Great Taste is sponsored by Manitoba Agriculture, Food and Rural Development. Great Tastes is produced in cooperation with participating Manitoba Commodities and Manitoba Agriculture, Food and Rural Development. Promotional consideration is provided by the Winnipeg Free Press. We're there for you. Great Tastes is produced by Frank Digital.